All right, welcome back. Today we're going to look at links and lists and tables. Not the tables we eat on, but the tables like an Excel or other brand spreadsheet. I guess we just need to get right in it, to be honest with you. So let's see if I can share the slide set. All right, I think that's okay. So we're talking about links. I think that's just the cutest. But really, if you look at him, he's either terrified or he's ready to claw your face off. But as a geek that has played video games since the original Zelda, I love that picture. So I had to include it in the slideshow. So far, our pages have been single units up until assignment 3, which is coming out today. I did release it on Tuesday for a few people and added about 20 minutes worth of narration on the site just to kind of explain what's going on in that assignment. But what makes the internet is the interconnectivity of computers all over the world. It's kind of like a human brain where you've got billions upon billions of brain cells up here, but they're all connected electrically with one another. And that's what makes our brain a fantastic processing unit. And that's what makes the internet a fantastic processing unit, is because we've got all kinds of information all over the world. And you don't have to leave your desk chair or put away your phone, as the case may be, to have access to it. When I asked why the sky was blue when I was little, my parents told me, I don't know, go away. When my kids ask me why the sky is blue, I told them a little explanation from my knowledge of science. And then I said, but if you want to know more, let's go look at the computer. Why can't I just ask you? Because you need to know how to find all that information that's out there. And this is our first step as web developers to putting that capability, that functionality into our websites. So what we're going to do today is we're going to take a look at everything there is out there and how do we make links to it? How do we work the internet to our advantage and our users' advantage? Most of that is just by providing them a way to go from your page to something else. If you're writing a page about dinosaurs and there are posts about dinosaurs that you think are excellent, you can make a link to that page. Maybe the University of Arizona has got a paleontology department, and every dinosaur bone that they found out there in the desert wastelands, they've put together on a website. And you can learn all kinds of facts. So instead of piling your website up with a huge number of scientific names and things like that, you can give an explanation of what it looks like and then link back to the University of Arizona's paleontology department. And I did not look that up, so it's off the top. But the point is, you can make your page and then give them more information by simply putting a link into the paragraph tag that we already know, or inside of those paragraphs rather, that gives them more information yet. So a link can work for you. If you're selling widgets, I wouldn't necessarily suggest that you have a link to your biggest competitor. Let's see what else we got over here. First of all, let me say this so it kind of sinks into your brain cells. There is no link tag. I don't care what your favorite bulletin board says, there is no link tag. What there is an anchor tag. It's very simple. A is for the anchor tag. It is a container tag. It's opened by an A, it's closed by an A. That's all there is to it. Now, there is a required attribute. Remember, an attribute is something that changes the way the tag behaves. In this case, the required attribute is the href. I was going to ask people, can they figure it out? But I remembered I'm on screen, so that's not going to work. But the href stands for hypertext reference. In other words, it's the path from your page across the web to someone else's page. Sounds pretty reasonable, I think. So the other thing that you need, if you remember, you're probably doing that right now, is the stuff that is highlighted. Let me share the screen. Like Facebook and Twitter, that's called click text. And that is literally what we click on to go, in this case, to Twitter. So we're going to talk about all of these beginning now. Now, I want to go back to the slides here for a minute. And there's more than one thing we can do with these, by the way. What we're going to take a look at is a series of different links and how we build them. Now, I'm not going to follow the slides here. What I'd rather follow are the actual links that I've built here on the PuTTY, see, the PuTTY server, the Odin server, and access via PuTTY. But if you see here, there's a section with a class that equals favesites. Doesn't mean anything right now. We have no CSS to make it happen. Then there's a paragraph. Here are some sites I like to visit. Notice we've got 1, 2, 3 anchor tags in it. And then we close the paragraph tag. Now I'm going to switch back to the PuTTY tool, and let's run down what we've got going on over here on my Odin site. Remember, always put the doc type the very first line. And every time you hit up when you're at the top line, it's going to bell for you. So the less than, the bang, DOCTYPE, a literal space, and then lowercase HTML, and the greater than. That's your doc type statement. We're going to buzz through this because this is just your honors pledge. We'll start with HTML tag. Remember, language equals English, EN for our class. Inside of the head tag, we want the title and the meta tag. Remember, the meta tag for us, we're just using it to say we're going to use UTF-8 for our text. That's why it's meta char set. This is the reason, though, why I stopped here, the title tag. Don't leave it as a website or something like that. I can't remember what I put on the template. Change it to be relevant to what's going on in your website. So in this case, CIST 1300 : links, because this is the lecture that we talk about them. Head and body, I got a couple breaks in there. Now here is where we've got the slide, or the information on that slide actually. So section, class equals favesites. Again, I don't have any CSS for favesites, so this is just a demonstration of what we could possibly do with a class in our section. So every section that has a class would be styled one way. Every section that has a class equals responses could be done a second way or a different way. But here's our anchor tag, our very first one. So right there, we've got our less than A for the anchor tag, and our required attribute is href, hypertext reference, which is http:// ist.unomaha.edu. And this is from an older lecture. So let's just go ahead and add the www in there. It will eventually forward. There we go. But this will get it there right away. Our click text is the purple stuff here. All of this. Now, take a look at this. IS, we've got an ampersand, an AMP, and a semicolon. T, website. On some older browsers, it doesn't like the ampersand character or any of the other weird characters. The copyright symbol, the little circle with a C right in the middle, that is also one that doesn't show up the same on every web browser unless we use that ampersand. So copyright would be ampersand, COPY, and a semicolon. So they used to call them things like friendly characters or stuff like that, but these are now called HTML5 entities. So the ampersand, AMP, semicolon gives you an ampersand. Again, that squiggly little line above the 7. I'm sorry, I can't even draw it by hand. Well, I could, but it would look like my stick figures, all mutant and so forth. So after that click text, we close the anchor tag. Now note there's a comma there. That's white. That's real text. That has nothing to do with our anchor tag. Second anchor tag is the A, href for a hypertext reference. In this case, http:// Facebook is our link text, or our click text rather, and then we close the anchor tag. Likewise for Twitter, href equals http:// twitter.com. Our click text is Twitter, and we close the anchor tag. Again, the comma, the period, and the word "and" are just like here are some sites I like to visit. They're regular text for whatever that paragraph is. We close the paragraph, we close the section. And what that does for us, let's go ahead and grab something else here real quick. That grabs us this. So if I click here, and you can tell I've already clicked on it once as I was working on putting this lecture together, is it's purple. By default, links are underlined. They're blue when they haven't been visited. They are purple when they have. And notice I click down on that and it turns red. So when it's active, it turns red. There's University of Nebraska, Omaha for IS&T. Well, that was the code crunch. That's right. Here's Facebook. Facebook didn't do it. Let's try this here. Notice I click on Facebook and how many Facebook or logins I get. Yeah, I don't like Facebook much. And then Twitter. There we go. See what's happening in the world right now. The future of gaming on PS5. Well, that's live, so you know what I'm recording everything, don't you? So I want to go back though to the page that we built. Now, that is the links that we've got on the first slide that says, hey, do something in, what is this, set 9, I believe, for the links. I want to go back to that page though. So this is now live, basically. It shows you well, it'll be on our catalog, or excuse me, it will be on ours as soon as I can get it there. I just have to go back through and check the URLs to make it sure. It may already be there by the time you're looking at this. Now, remember I said that an anchor tag had to have basically four things, right? Had to have the HTML brackets, it had to have the opening A and the closing A, it has to have link text, and it has to have the href, the path through to whatever it is you're looking for, whatever resource you want to send your people to out on the web. If you're writing a page about the greatest jelly beans in the world, in your opinion, you may want to link to the Jelly Belly Corporation or someplace like that. Now, I'm looking at this extra slide set on my right. So if I don't look like I'm looking at you, just it's because I'm not. Take a look at this slide though. The three here that are in red are absolutely wrong. And it's because of the way they're being constructed. Remember I talked about absolute URLs and relative URLs, okay? The absolute ones are the ones that we've got in this kind of a link. Why did I do that? There we go. View the page source. Let's make it big enough to see. Now, this is the first one that we just looked at. Oh, I forgot. I didn't share it, did I? So this is the first one that we looked at there, the one that went live, if you will. Compare this one to this one real quick. You put it on pause, take a couple minutes, or go get a hamburger or something. Come back. This is http://ist.unomaha.edu. What's the same thing that all three of these have? The only thing that is the absolute same is the very first set of words in that tag. The hypertext transfer protocol, a colon, 2 forward slashes, just as if we were typing it in up here. So if you're going to connect outside of the world, or outside of your own little world, I guess, we have to say hypertext transfer protocol, colon, //, meaning this is going to go away from your web server, away from your computer, over the internet to find whatever this may be. It could be you're going to xkcd.com or Omaha Steaks or something like that. You're hungry, so you're looking for pizza, you could go to Godfather's. The point is, if you're going off your own server, you have to include http://. Otherwise, this is the one that I haven't shown you yet, but I'll do it in a minute. This is going to be looked for on our server. And I guarantee you that I don't host the IS&T college website. I had to beg and plead for the amount of space I have on the hard drive. They originally gave every instructor the same amount of space that you guys got, 1 gigabyte. It's like trying to, I don't know, put your foot in a baby slipper. It just doesn't work. So this says ist.unomaha.edu is somewhere on your website. Obviously, that's not correct. I don't host Facebook either, right? Neither do you. This one almost looks right though, right? It's got an HTTP in front of it, but it doesn't have 2 slashes. It only has 1. So http:// is what it needs. Now, let's go over here and take a look at that real quick. This is the one for the slide we just passed. If we click on the IS&T website, it's not found, but hang on a minute. Let me get a notepad up here. Oh, come on, silly thing. There we go. So I'm going to format the font here real quick. Let's make it 26, just so we can see everything. Now I'm going to go back here, actually. Control C, and let's paste it back down here. Now this is where I've got this page that I'm working on with you guys this evening. Notice where it's trying to get to. It's looking for either a document that says that, or it's looking for another directory that says that. Either way, it's not going to find it. And if we do that for Facebook, you are going to see the same thing. It's looking for Facebook on my server. I wish it was on my server. I've got a lot of things I could do with that little old young man's money. I was going to say little guy for a minute. I apologize, because he's not a little guy. Maybe I'm just jealous. Now, this is the one that says, hey, let's go to Twitter with http://. Let's see what it says. It may be, let's try this. Nope. So what it's done there is it's defaulted back to unomaha.edu. Do you see that? And I guarantee you that Odin does not host Twitter either. So there we go. That's where we're at right now. I'm going to minimize that in case we need it again. Now let's talk about searching with Google. I want to try that one more time just to make sure I'm in the right place. Yep, I'm in the right place. Okay. So this was the error-prone messages. We use the HTML5 entity, the ampersand AMP semicolon. And what that does, as I mentioned before, is it displays the ampersand no matter what browser your user is looking for. There are all kinds of these entities, and if you look at the jump drive or the jump directory here, you should find it. I don't know if we can or not. I haven't looked at that in just ages. Oh, well. That's not what I want. That's the one I want. I'm not going to try that right now. Let's just go back to where we were at here. So the reason this is important is because sometimes when you copy a URL, you'll find that they've got ampersands in it. And that's not always a good thing, because not every browser out there understands ampersands in the same way. But every browser out there understands what an HTML5 entity is and can replace that little 4 or 5 letters worth of code with the correctly displayed special character that it represents. So here's a Google search. The hypertext language here is English, and safe search is off, and your query, what you searched for in the search box, was HTML5. So this is what you're getting as a link, and you can type that link in as just click this to find out about HTML5 on Google, and you'll get there. Absolutely, you'll get there. But again, some browsers may not understand that ampersand. So what we're going to do here is we're going to replace all the ampersands in that section of Google by the HTML5 entity, or the friendly code for ampersand. which again is ampersand AMP semicolon. Now, what we're going to do is we've got the ampersand in our code, and we're just going to flash back to my other screen here, and we're going to run it. So let's grab this and go back to here. And here's the link for it. Let's go down to where the link is, and you'll see in kind of a faded out red, brick red looking thing, that, hey, we've got that, we've got that. So we shouldn't have any problems regardless of what browser we use. And that's not what I wanted. This is what I want. So if we click this, notice that the search query is in the box, HTML5, and you can't see it from here, but let's go ahead and blow this up. And where's my notepad? Here's my notepad. Nope, that's not my notepad. There's my notepad. So that is what we see inside of the address bar, the URL. The URL says search ? That means, what do you want to send me? And again, hypertext language is English, and the safe search is off, and the query is HTML5. You can play around with this if you want. I think it's kind of cool to know how to get the exact thing you want out of a site with Google. Your best bet is to just search for Google hacks. Matter of fact, the biggest repository of Google hacks is on Google. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, it's a pretty cool trip, actually. So, and really, literally, all you would have to do up here is change the query to, radioactive rodent. There you go. I was actually thinking of a new cartoon, supervillain, but what the heck. We'll go back to HTML5. All right, I'm going to kill that and go back to our site. Now, take a look at this. Would you like to look at a picture of a tree frog? Let me show you why that doesn't work. I left it there for this reason, to have this conversation. So, odin.unomaha.edu//J Blackmore summer 20 tree frog fern forest.jpg. Do you remember where all our images are kept this semester? It's not in the same directory as the main page. We are keeping all of our JPEGs, all of our images in the images directory. So let's go over to PuTTY for a minute. Silly thing. I keep going too low and my title bar grabs a hold of it. So we've done that one and this one, and there's our Google link. And now our tree frog. So I would guarantee you that if I had clicked on Mars, I would have gotten Mount Sharp first look.jpg. And now looking at it, you can see why, right? Because that one tells me where to go for that image. The top one gives me a blank URL. It's an error, what was it, 404, I think, not found, because it's not there. It's one branch in the tree higher in a place called images. So what we need to do Let's come up here, put my cursor right there, hit the insert. I'm already in insert, and we need to type in images. Escape :W and leave that up for now. I'm going to go back now to desktop like that and minimize it. So we're going to see this now. I want you to watch something. Mars, we got that. It's right there. It's easy to do. Let's go back to Tree Frog. The one thing that I didn't do, browsers run on something called cache. It means basically that they've got some memory where they store things like a page that's often brought up by someone. Say every morning during breakfast, you open up your laptop and go to CNN to see what's happened in the world today. Or you always watch an anime off of Crunchyroll or something every morning as you're, making your way to school. You shouldn't do that unless somebody else is driving, by the way. It's hard to read subs on a phone while you're on the road. But this is reading out of that cache because it saved a copy of this page since I go back and forth to it so often. As many times as I click it, it's still not going to change until I come up here and hit the refresh button. I'm going to do that now. And I'm going to go right here to Tree Frog. And there we go. So remember, when you make a change like that, when you change the URL, when you're trying out different colors for your background or your foreground, the reset button is your friend. So let's go back. And let's check out what our next slides talk about. So over here, we just did the Tree Frog in the Fern Forest. We did the href equals images mount sharp. Remember, is there an image tag anywhere here? No. But when we go back to what we were looking at before, oh, come on, you silly thing, share for me. There we go. We still have an image, but notice the background is black. The background is back. It works the same way. Think about one of those images that, maybe your mom took it to somebody to have it framed. So they put it like a heavy cardboard, black matte finish in the background, and your image pops out through the center while you're in a frame. That's exactly what we're doing here. We are not claiming that our Tree Frog is part of our website. It's not. It's just like a picture that you hang on your wall. And that's what that code is doing for us. There it is. So that's all we're doing here. We're just saying, I want you to link to the Tree Frog in the Fern Forest and pull it up into a new empty browser window. That's all that means. Nothing any fancier than that, nothing any harder than that. And since we're just popping it into a browser, the browser understands how to display the image. We don't need an image tag at this point. Okay? So make sure you remember that. That's important. This one's kind of fun. This is the target attribute. And the target attribute starts out by allowing us to create one of those wonderful pop-ups. That's really what it's designed for. It's designed to pop up the site you link to in a new window. And what we're going to do here is we're going to split these, I guess, into two. I'm going to do the first one here, and then I'm going to talk about the second one. Okay? Now notice the first one says our full URL, http://ist.unomaha.edu, target equals double quotes _blank. The _blank here absolutely gives you a new window every time with whatever this URL is. Okay. Remember, we're not even talking. Yeah, we'll do that later. We'll talk about it when we get to CSS. I don't want to jump the gun too far on you guys. So let's go back to the other slide, or the other page, my other window. And we just got done with the tree, frog, and Mars. But here's Facebook immediately in another window, so I don't have to hit back button 3 to 5 times. There's Dig. Wow, that's kind of creepy. Ivana Trump's been canceled? Oh well, whatever. Every time I click on one of those, it's going to open a new window. So be careful what you do with the target attribute. If you put this in the navigation area for your website, that means that every time somebody leaves a page to go to another one, they're just going to automatically open a new page. Pretty soon, your list of pages are going to look like mine down here. Or your list of icons at the bottom are going to look like mine. It's kind of awful, actually. And I have seen a few cases where people have slipped and done that in the real world. So it is a problem that exists, especially among people that are not real savvy about web page design. Let's go back over to the other slides. And we've got a few other slide sets that are going on, or anchor tags going on here. Basically, I just threw some images out that I had been looking at throughout that day. Hangover was from I Can Has Cheeseburger. Harry Potter, of course, was from the Harry Potter website. And the Transformers, I think, is a model of a transformer. But notice they are just anchor tags. The click text is the name of the poster. Also notice that as crappy as these two things look, they still work. But if you turn that in as professional level code for your boss, at best, you're going to get yelled at. So keep your code looking nice. Make it look like the stuff we saw up here. And I would even suggest you flatten these out too, and not like where we're at. Okay, so let's switch over and let's check out the next one, or what the page really looks like anyway. So I think we should be back now. And if we click on the Hangover poster, like I said, it was I Can Has Cheeseburgers. So it looks like the cat's hanging over like a second floor window or something on the farm. Oh, hey, there's another one here. Oh no, we'll talk about it next time. There we go. There's Harry, obviously a young Harry. Not a Harry? Oh well, whatever. And then there's a model of one of the Transformers. Now everybody knows, by the way, that you can hold the control key down and use your mouse wheel to go up and down to make things bigger and smaller, whether it's text or images or the whole bloody web page. So if you're getting older like me, that controls middle wheel can be a good thing, especially when somebody decides to do small point font of gray letters on a black background. Just awful. Don't ever do that. But it's silver and black, man. The silver and black colors are great. No, they're not. They just, you lose the internet. So there's another thing that we can talk about. And let's go back over to the slides again real quick. And what you see here is, instead of using the target equals blank like Facebook does in this list, Facebook and the ISNT website have target equals XYZ, or XYZ for those of you from the continent. This target XYZ, will pop up a named window. We don't name it, the user doesn't name it, but the browser says, okay, I got a window and memory space reserved for XYZ. And what this does is every time we do one of these, it will automatically pop up into a window named XYZ. Except that only counts for Facebook and our College of ISNT here. Excuse me, for our Twitter. See what happens when you don't have this nicely indented and basically all your ducks in a row, as my grandmother used to say. But the XYZ window will hold either Twitter or ISNT. Facebook will always pop up in a new window if we do this on this page. So I'm going to go back here. So ISNT window. There we go. I'm going to click on Twitter now. Notice it's changed. But if I click on Facebook, I get a new window every time. It never changes what's on the XYZ window. Again, the ISNT website will pop up and change from Twitter, but Facebook won't erase that either. So that's kind of cool. That's part of the way they target things, although JavaScript has made it much easier. We could even do things like screen scraping in Perl, but that's too highly advanced for our class. Now, I bet you guys recognize the flower in that picture, right? Yeah, it's our tree toad in a fern forest again. But I want to show you why it's here. We go to the next one. We're talking about the ID attribute. Remember, it's not id. Id makes Doom software. It's ID. And remember, we said from the very first thing, I said, what I want you to remember now most of all is that an ID can be used one time and one time only on a page, whereas a class can be used multiple times on the page. You ever been to a Wikipedia site? You know, where they've got this I don't know, it looks like an outline about a quarter of the way down the page, whatever the topic is. And what that outline allows you to do is click on one of those links and go directly to that section of the page. And that's really kind of cool. And the way that's implemented is because we know that the ID has to be unique. There can, if I have an ID of about me, there can be no other IDs that read about me anywhere on that page. It has to be once and once only. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a link so we can skip this picture, actually. The picture of the fern frog forest thing. We're going to create that by using a # for the href and putting the div ID equals about me somewhere on the screen. Now, oh, sorry, itch. So look at line 4. Here's a bookmark. href equals # bookmark. What that does, that's actually my link. That's this on this page that you'll see here in a moment. Down below on line 8, paragraph with an ID of bookmark, BKMRK. This is a bookmark paragraph. All of these are XHTML break tags. Technically, a break tag is a self-closing object. So it used to require that /. If you're comfortable doing that, I don't mind. You can certainly do that if you want to, because HTML5 says, I don't care about it. You can do it or not. Here on line 9, we're going to go to a Wikipedia page on Tim Berners-Lee. He's the guy that invented the web, right? And notice that we have a pound symbol, career _and _research. It used to be just career, but now they've updated it, so I had to update my slides. But I'll show you where that is too. So let's change our SharePoint here back to this screen, and that should have done. Now, here's my bookmark, and notice it goes right down to a bookmark paragraph. All it does is skip me over the image and all of those break tags. I think there were about 15 or something. Now here's my link to Tim Berners-Lee. And remember, it's not going to stop at the head of the page. It's going to burrow right down into the middle of it so that we can see what he did in his career. And guess what I did not do? I'll bet you I have not hit refresh on that since I changed it. Let's try it again. All right. Let's see what's going on in here. Scroll down, down, down. Boy, look at that. I changed it and I forgot to save. But brings us a lesson. You always have to resave. You always have to save. And research. Okay. We're going to come back out here. We're going to back up. We're going to hit the refresh button. Notice it was purple before. Now it's changed back to blue. Remember, blue in a non-CSS enabled page means that this is a link you haven't visited. It's blue and it's underlined. When I click down on it, it becomes red and underlined, so it's active. I let go of it, and we should go to Tim. There we go. Once I give it the right place to go, then it gives me the location where I want to be. Now, I'm going to click on this, and can we view the selection source? There we go. Let's make this big enough to see. Right there is our ID. ID equals career _and research. And that's what I typed in to get us back in this place. So that's also kind of cool, because what that can do for us is it can provide us a way to say, leave a link at the top of your page, like on your schedule page, and do ID equals schedule. And then way down at the bottom somewhere, we can have a button that says back to the top of the page or back to my schedule, and just click on it. I said button, I meant a link. Just click on it, and that will take you back up to the point where you want to have your user come from the bottom to. I think that's understandable. Just sounded weird there for a minute. Okay, so that is almost everything, but we're not quite done yet. Now, let me show you the code for this first, because I want you to be amazed. So take a look at that. Line 4, just a paragraph, right? Well, wait a minute. Let me click share to make sure. There we go. Line 4 is just a paragraph. That's all it is. There ain't no more. Line 5 starts out with is &t, then an old style break tag, our anchor tag, and we close our anchor tag here and add another break. Notice this. And I'm going to skip back to the putty tool because I think that shows it best. So we're going to do that. We're going to come back here and we're going to click share. Now, what you see here is exactly what's on that slide. But what I want you to know, whoops. Don't have the insert. Is one of those days. If you like, we can even highlight that like that. So do you see what's in the middle of that anchor tag? After we close the first anchor tag, right, we should have like external right here. Purple text, right? That's our click text. But what's our image tag doing in there? Alt-IST for Facebook, it's Alt Facebook. For Twitter, it's Alt Twitter. I mean, the images are created correctly. But why are they in the middle of our anchor tags? The reason is, of course, let's go back out and see the wider world here for a minute, is that notice my cursor as I come over the green or towards the green, it changes to the pointing finger, which usually means I can interact with something. If I click that, I go to the College of IS&T. If I click Facebook, I go to Facebook. I don't know why it's giving, oh God, look at that, 3 more, yay. Obviously, I forgot to minimize the Twitter twit. There we go. So what that does for us is it allows us, I clicked on the stupid bird. There we go. It allows us to use an image instead of link text if that's what we want. And I skipped something. We're all the way down here. We have our alt, we have our source, so we're legal. But remember, you can have as many things as you want in terms of attributes as long as they are, I don't know, copacetic to what we're doing. So real quick up here, and you shouldn't do this. I'm only doing this because the Twitter bird is a ping, so it won't cost us any more to do it the way it is now than really the way it is when it's little. But I can't remember. I think it's wider. So let's do image style equals quote width colon 300 pixels, a space. I'll go back here and add quotes. If everything else after this turns this red or doesn't change color, you're probably missing a double quotation mark. So let's save this. Come back out here and hit our refresh. And we want to look, or I want to look anyway to make sure that my save is correct on here. There it is, style equals width 300 pixels. So let's go out here and see what happens to my tweet. Well, isn't that interesting? I don't like pings that much. But let's look at the source. See if I screwed something up in here. No, because we know that works. I don't know, maybe pings won't allow me to do that. I'll have to look that up and talk to you guys later, because it seems that that should work. Huh. I'm going to try one more thing while I'm up here. Sorry about that. That's odd. Oh, what am I doing? No, that shouldn't be. I think I may have been changing the wrong one, actually. I have been. Changed a little bit, but that image was pretty close already. Let's make it 200. Whoops, wrong direction. There we go. So it will work right if you're looking at the right image. Now the bird ticks me off. So let's try this down here again just to prove that I wasn't lying. It will work. Insert style equals quote. Also, when you're doing this, make sure that the double quote and the A, for example, don't get stuck together, because then it will tell you, I don't understand what you're talking about. Because if you twit it all together there, you're going to see, or the computer will see, style equals width colon 200 pixels semicolon double quote alt equals Twitter. And it literally doesn't understand that. But let's hit my escape colon and W. Let's go back out here and hit refresh. And there's our little bird with the way he should be, actually. Notice also that I've got break tags after each one of the anchor tags to make sure that they're a vertical list in this case instead of a horizontal one. We should have enough time, I think. Okay, let's get out of this. And we want to go to tables. Now, a table is data placed in a rectangular format that is basically the X and Y rows and columns of a spreadsheet. We're going to talk first about bulleted lists or just lists in general. And that's what this one is talking about here. So give me a second to reset here the slides and bring up the other ones. Okay. Whoops. We don't need that. That's just going to get you confused. So let's take a look at the new set of slides, and then we're going to rock and roll on how we make things ourselves. So we go there and we click share, and there we go, creating lists and tables. Now we saw this briefly on in an earlier one of the lecture series, and I talked just a little bit about it. There are three tags you really need to know and remember for lists: OL, UL, and LI. Now notice they're also all container tags, so you've got an open and a closed tag for each one. So O stands for, anybody want to guess? Ordered. So we're talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or the Roman numerals or whatever we've got there. UL is an unordered list, which is, basically bullet points. So the final one actually stands for list item. And a list item is used between either ordered list pair or the unordered list pair. If it's used in the ordered list pair, again, we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. Unordered list, we get bullet points. That's really cool. But it's even cooler when we get into putting CSS into it. We'll do a little bit of stuff with swapping out the bullet points today, but there's a lot more out there, and you can visit W3 Schools and ask CSS for list items, and that'll show you a lot of stuff. So here's my very first list, and you'll notice I have at line 5, I open the list, line 12, I close the list. And then lines 6 through 7 is a complete link, in this case to ist.unomaha.edu, with IS&T as our click text. There's Facebook as a click text. There's Twitter as a click text. So if I move you guys over to the other desk or the other screen here, now the IS&T site works. We go right there. I'm not going to go to Facebook again. I just don't like Facebook. And if I show you the code, it's literally that easy. Notice again, we have the ampersand friendly code or HTML5 entity. So IS ampersand T will appear on our screen. Here we're setting up something that I talked about before as well. That's the idea of using list items to build the menu of your web page. So the H1 is just our title, but ID equals nav menu says within this nav section from here to line 61, this is all going to maneuver you around my website. So we're going to have an unordered list, just bullet points. Each list item then is again supposedly a page on this site that we have to go and look at. Now we do have an index.html because that's the way we started the semester out. The rest of these won't go anywhere because I don't have dummy pages worked up for them. Now down here, instead of having an ID of nav menu, because we can only have that once on a page, we have ID equals main stuff and an H1 and a paragraph and so forth and so on. We're getting closer and closer to the ability of using these things in our websites with CSS. So that is actually going to be pretty cool when we get there. And if we go over here, whoops, there's our site navigation. Let me bring the, there we go. So there's our H1 that says site navigation. Email us is not going to get us anywhere because we don't have it created. Same thing with about us. But just to show that they work, there's our home page. And again, right now it's the just some text page. So, oh, and there's our first blog post. Again, the ID here is navigation. The ID here is, I can't remember, to be honest with you. We can view the page source here. Main stuff, main stuff. We're talking about the stuff we think is cool. Now, we have a top 3 worldwide box office right there. Cool thing is you can kind of cheat on that and use Perl to go and strip all the values out of it, but that's a different class. And what we've got there, again, kind of look exactly what we've got for the one we just finished. And this one is basically the same. There's a link inside of it, actually 3 links inside of 3 list items, but 5 and 12 are no longer unordered lists, they are ordered lists. So we're going to get the 1, 2, 3 in there. And you know, we've got this information from IMDb, et cetera, et cetera. But that's important because if you put stuff out there, people are going to ask you what your source is. Don't claim that it's yours unless you've actually done the calling around and making sure that the data is correct. Always, always, always give credit to your source. So let's take a look at this. So the next one down, again, ordered list here, list item with a complete anchor tag in it, plain text for the how much money they made, and we close the list item. So let's go back to the other page here, and let's see what Avatar does if we click on it. Straight to imdb.com. I thought he was going to have another Avatar 2 out within 2 years of him making that film, but he never did. Same thing with Titanic. Oh, come on. Same thing with the Avengers. See, my Avengers was like a 1960s spy thriller show. Now, the information from IMDb, with that link, it just takes us over to the Internet Movie Database. Now, one of the coolest things is that we can literally change some of what we see or some of what we use. So this is 1, 2, 3. The next one we're going to do is 4, 5, and 6. And notice they're small Roman numerals, which is also kind of cool. I want to go back to the slide real quick so we can talk about it. And that's the one that's the one that we just explained. That's right. Now down here, for ordered lists, if you use the word reversed, it will go from 1 to infinity, and it'll change it to whatever your highest number is, positive infinity down to however many things you're going to put on a list item. Usually we do things like the 10 best kind of list, that kind of thing. Now, reversed is something called a Boolean, and a Boolean means true or false. You can look up Boole in mathematics and sciences. He's kind of a big deal. So if we did our last slide with the keyword Boolean in there, it would be the Avengers, Titanic, and then Avatar, because it would be exactly reversed. No, I'm sorry. It would still be, instead of 1, 2, 3, it'll be 3, 2, 1. I was thinking of reversing an array. Now, this says only Chrome supports it. That's not true anymore. Almost every browser that's out there supports reversed and supports other Boolean attributes. In our use of Boolean attributes, if it's there, it means it's true. If it's not there, it means it's false. So if I don't have reversed in my attributes list, it'll be 1, 2, 3. If I throw it into my attributes list inside the tag, I'll have 3, 2, 1. Now start, you use it by doing start equals quotes and a number. So if you want to, you can start it at number 4. And then down here, type indicates the type of counter we use. So if we use the numeral 1, the Arabic numeral 1, we get 1, 2, 3. Capital A gives us capitalized alphabet. Lowercase a, lowercase alphabet, and I and lowercase I are Roman numerals. That's why we get those over here on the Worldwide Box Office. Now this is not yet CSS. This is old school, way to go kind of HTML basically. So I've got my ordered list and my attributes are type equals I, so lowercase Roman numerals, start equals 4, so I'm going to start at 4. And that lists, of course, for what you're doing on that set of ordered list and nothing else. If you create a new ordered list, that won't be there. You'll have to manually start it again with whatever you want over here as your So down here, I think I've maybe seen this once, but let's talk about them because they're a good tool if you're going to do something like a glossary or a mini dictionary as part of your website. Maybe you're attaching this to data that you've gotten from a research project into whether or not radio towers cause cancer or something silly like that, or something serious like that, depending on your viewpoint. So DL is the definitions list. That's the way we started. DT is the definition term or the defined term. And then DD is the definition defined or definition, which is totally redundant, and I like calling it that way. But you can fill in your own words or look up the true words if you want to. I just like definition, because it sounds so silly. What? So, you know, I keep losing which screen I'm on. I am on that one. So I want to go over here. Okay. So again, these are your tags. Definition list and it's closed, DT and it's closed, DD and it's closed. This is what we've actually done right here in the middle of the screen on the other side. And we'll go back to that here in a minute. But our download or definition list, wow, is from 4 to 16. Our definition terms are CIST 1300, CIST 1400, and CIST 25 or 2850. I was going to say 2580. Notice, well, let's not even do that. Let's just go and look at it on the screen. And what we're seeing here is our definition terms hang out all the way over to the left, while the definition, if you will, automatically push them over about 8 spaces. It's kind of like the way the block quote works. See, we've got down here the 2850 and it automatically folds over. So I think that's coolish, but I really wouldn't use it anymore. There are better ways to do this with CSS. Now, let's take a look at our very first table. And here it is. Isn't that cool? Well, yes and no, right? It looks kind of awkward. You know what? I hate the fact that there are no borders in there. I'm old enough that I like to use a border to run my cursor along so I don't lose the row that I'm on. But there's 2 different ways to do it. There's many different ways of thoughts on whether you should have a border or you shouldn't have a border. For our class, I'd like to see you do borders. Let's go back and read through the slides here real quick. And what we've got is, again, like I've said, HTML5 tables, row and column format. But the difference between HTML5 and any of the spreadsheets that you've got or that you've worked with, really you got to build it from the start. So you've got to do it yourself over and over again. In the old days, we used tables oftentimes to get a cool layout for our page. Because remember, without CSS, we're top down, left to right, and that's all we can do. But tables, and to a lesser extent frames, gave us the opportunity to head towards a more modern feel in web design. So here's basically the tags that you're going to need to do tables in, well, for this class anyway. So table opens and starts with its own tag. Caption is the thing that says the top 3 worldwide box office, and we'll go back there in a minute. TR is a table row. TD is a table data. TH is a table header. Now, the data and the header are what's inside each individual shell. Usually, we only use the TH along the very top row of the table, or maybe down along one side to delineate, for example, hours. So each one of your blocks is 1 hour, for example, 8 to 9, 9 to 10, 10 to 11, that kind of thing, all the way down the left side. The other thing that TH does is it centers and bolds whatever is in it. So that's why it's perfect for headers, or, as I said, the hours along the left side, that kind of thing. What I want to do, though, is I want to skip that, and I want to go talk about building a table. Now, if you look, we've got a table row right here that says 1, 2, and a link to 3, whatever a.html is. Here we've got Tom, Dick, Harry, and Stewie. But it doesn't tell us any much, or very much. And it's really hard to read that code the way it is horizontally. So what I'm going to do is we're going to look at those top 3 world box offices real quick. And that, I think, is going to show you the way I want your code written. So I'm going to go back to the share, go back to our Loki window. And that was the last set. So escape, colon, right, and quit. And we're going to vim tables.html. So there are my sites I like to visit. We saw that already. There's my nav, ID equals menu. There's our top 3 world box office again, but this was listed as an ordered list. And this was our reverse ordered list. So table data is 1300, data definition is, of course, we'll provide, et cetera, et cetera. Now, please tell me I fixed this somewhere. I didn't. I'm an evil, evil man. This is just horrible. If I told you you've got an error in the 3rd cell on row 17, and it all looked like that, you'd never be able to find the error. So this is what I want yours to look like when you turn them in or do them. Hang on a minute, I forgot to hit the insert key. This is the only one I'm going to do like this. And the only reason I'm doing it is because I want you to see it the right way and not do it in the way that we've got it in the PowerPoint, because we've only got so much room in a PowerPoint to make a point. It is much easier if you do this while you're typing the information in the first time. It's boring as hell to watch me sit here and type. Now, what's happened is I've opened my table way up here. Paragraph above it isn't part of the table. It's just an announcement in regular text. My caption is this thing, the little line across the top of our tables here. But this is the heading for the top row of cells, right? Title, year, worldwide box office. We can tell that because they're all table headers. Down here is our first row that has cells that contain the information that we want to look at, which is Avatar 2009, 2.88 billion. Or no, just 2.8 billion. I got happy there with the B for a minute. That is the way I want to see your tables. It doesn't mean that you're typing more. It just means that you're making it easier for yourself and us to read. Now, the difference between these two are obvious, right? Which one would you rather try and find an error in? I guarantee you, and I grade these things too, I would rather find it in this. So if you don't do your tables in vertical format, you will definitely get gigged on your assignment. Vertical format. If you turn it in looking like this, we're going to have a conversation, I'm sure. Now, the difference here, between other than the indentation or the vertical style over the horizontal style, is that we've got a border equals 1. And that's really not what we want to watch. This is old school. So I will, the assignment's already open. You guys get started on it. And then on Monday, I will put out a fix for what's going to happen to your table boarding when you run it against the W3 schools. It. Again, notice the links that we have here. I would rather have us do a table that looks like that. But let's try it. Let's do a little inline CSS here for a minute and see what we can get going. Yeah, I'm going to do it in the first one up here. And I'm just going to come up here and put the border equals 1 just for this one. This is old school. But we're going to show you a better way. I'll put out a short video on it on Monday. Okay. Now remember, we can add a style attribute to any single area that we want to play with. So let's do this. Style equals, quote. Now remember, COLOR, color, is the color of the letters, whereas background dash color is what it sounds like. So let's do style equals background dash color. Golden. Yeah, that should work. Same thing here. So let's save this. Let's go back out here and see the changes. Not bad. So let's go back in and let's change the width. I'm going to switch back here to that screen. Notice goldenrod. I think it helps to have a little bit of color in your, I was about to say arrays, but in your spreadsheets, because it helps people, tie in what goes with what. Let's get back into it here. This is not going to be as large for you as when I highlight the thing by itself, but it'll still work. Let's go down to avatar. So there we go. So style equals color colon view. Oops. Oh, I put it. See what I did? I hit the equal sign. Equals. Double quote. I'm still too far back. Oops, there we go. Let's try that one more time. Maybe I won't misspell anything this time. At least that I can go back and fix easy. Highlight that, see what it looks like. Ooh. That is not a good color. That color on white is not got enough contrast for us to see it easy. So we're going to go back to that real quick and change it. I like to keep the blue, but let's try midnight. MID. Nugget blue. Nugget. One of my favorite lines from Monty Python when they call the knights Kniggets. So that looks better, but it's still kind of washed out. So you can play around with these inline styles. You can put more than one in there. We could do the midnight blue with, the Dodger blue background if that would be bold enough or contrasting enough. Since I talked about bold, remember we can do more than one thing here. So let's see what happens when we do font weight, colon space, bold. An extra quotation mark in there, which turned everything red. I was typing the colon because I forgot to press my escape button. Now, just bolding it though, I can see that it's not black. Not that there's anything wrong with black and white. It's just, I like a little bit of color. Sometimes I like a lot of color. I just wish I could find a tie-dye t-shirt anymore. So that's about it for today. Like I said, I will post how to get around the Actually, I'll probably post it earlier than that because I want to show you guys how to utilize those badges when you're not on campus. I don't think that it's even going to work for me. Yeah, it's not going to work for me from my desktop. So what we'll have to do is do the runaround, and that's okay. I know how to do that, and I'll teach you guys how to do it too. I don't think we've got anything else that we need to talk about today. And actually, we're going to have our Q&A here in about 10 minutes. So I'm going to sign off for now. You've got 2 lectures worth and everything that you need to complete assignment 3 with the video that I put up, boy, I can't remember, Tuesday maybe. And with what we've done tonight, you should fly through the assignment. But if you don't, that's fine. Come and ask for help. You can get on Zoom with the Computer Science Learning Center people. And I've been doing a pretty good job, I think, so far this semester with keeping up with all your emails. Remember, though, that I've got a lot on my plate, so I may be, 1 or 2 days late in getting around to them. But, just keep sending them, and I will keep answering them. All right? Have a wonderful day, a wonderful evening, and I will probably be online Friday from 3 to whenever people don't show up anymore. So if you need help, call me on Friday, otherwise, or email me on Friday, and we'll see what happens. Assignment 2 is due tonight. Assignment 3 comes out tonight officially, and it is due next Thursday at midnight. All right, thank you, folks. Have a wonderful day, as I said before, and we will see you on the next video. Bye.